Today, finally making a video about Polar strap and how to bloody use it. So a lot of people I work with, I suggest them to use Polar strap mainly because this is the most precise from all the heart rate trackers I have found. Your wristwatches, your rings and all those kind of things, they are not precise, nowhere near as something that's directly put next to your heart. So that's my go-to planner, and people kind of have this misconception that they need to use it all day long. You don't. You seriously don't. It's just daft. Whereas I consider that ring and watch and all those kind of things are very destructive, especially watch, because you can check your resting heart rate all the time. And I found a lot of people just get anxious about it. So that out of the way, how do you actually get Polar strap on you? So it's fascinating that I actually need to make a video like this, but some people just don't get it because it's a sticky side. You need to wet it to put it on your body. So what people usually do is they put front and then try to reach it on back, which just not gonna get you anywhere if you're larger than life. You should still wet it. What I do, I put it on top of t-shirt. You wet it up, put it up behind you, clip it in front, then you can easily twist it in front of you, pull your t-shirt up, and it's set on. If you're gonna do it strapped to skin, you won't be able to flip it over because once this is wet, it gets stuck to your body. Once that is done, get the actual tracker, attach it to the strap, open your apps, and off you go. So this is usually taken off just to preserve the battery, because if you keep it on, it's switch on permanently. So basics out of the way, let's move on what you actually need to do with it. To use your Polar strap most efficiently, you'll need two apps. One of them is ELITE HRV, which you're going to use it only in the morning, and then Polar Beat. You can do it whatever the hell you want. So you're tracking your resting heart rate, you're tracking your heart rate variability. Why these two are predominantly showing you how actually fit you are. It can predict your insulin sensitivity, it can predict your recovery, it can even predict if you're gonna get ill in the next day or two. I have often caught out a lot of guys who track this religiously and then they're still going to gym even though readings have been absolute garbage for 2-3 days in a row, and on day 4-5 they get ill for a week or two. Do not ignore these. You are not trying to chase a set number. So first of all, you're going to focus on ELITE HRV. This is the most important if you're tracking your health. What it does, it checks your morning readiness, checks how well you have slept, checks how well you have eaten, checks how well you have recovered, and all those kind of things. This number will show you resting heart rate and heart rate variability. This number is specific to you. You do not try to get some kind of miraculous numbers there just because somebody else has better numbers than you, or lower or higher, or it doesn't work that way. It works specifically on you. What you're trying to do is this morning readiness, you're trying to get your resting heart rate down and make sure that heart rate variability as high as possible. If this is down, that means you are more efficient in tapping into your own body fat use for energy. If this is high, you are more efficient in getting your mental state in check. Your appetite will be high. You will be most efficient in your training, in your daily tasks, and many other things. I'm not going to go into those. So, and this is primarily focuses and changes over time. So when you have your first reading, you need to be consistent. You need to check this ELITE HRV morning readiness for at least 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Then it kind of gives you a baseline where you are at. And then you mix and match these with your training cycle, with your supplements, with your food, with your body weight changes, with your cycle if you're a woman, and all those kind of things. Whereas Polar Beat is another app I use for training only. So you put it on before training, you set up, you choose one setting, whichever training you're going through. Are you doing cardio, strength training? There are a million options you can choose. So you're checking training output. You're training, whatever you're doing, you can check how hard you're training, how hard you're working. Are you working in more of a fat use predominantly, or a lactic kind of threshold is being your main focus of your training, and all those kind of things. What I like with Polar Beat is most of CV equipment in a gym will tag onto it straight away. So if you go on a Stairmaster or treadmill or whatnot, you usually have to hang on to something to check your resting heart rate. If you got your Polar Beat on a strap, it will show you on a screen straight away. It doesn't work with every single equipment, but most of them will work. If it doesn't, you can still use your phone, you can still use your an app and just check how much you progressed and whatnot. And both these apps are able to kind of sync things with your phone. So if you have your health app for iPhone, I don't know what's for Android, it syncs it with that. So it shows you changes over time. You can go back and revisit it if you keep in a tight records of what you've been eating, how you've been training, and all those kind of things. You can mix and match, like, okay, this kind of diet made me do this is how I recovered on it, maybe I need to add something there or take it away something, this kind of training really fucking wiped me out. So my resting heart rate was great, but my recovery was absolute dog shit, so I need to pull myself back there on volume or intensity or whatever. This is probably the best investment you can make for tracking your health. Ring, great, convenient, looks posh as fuck, but not so good for precision. Especially if you train with Ring, it tracks nothing. Same with your watch, same with anything else. Good for sleep tracking, but let's be honest, why I do prefer Polar strap is if I do use phone or Ring or whatnot for my sleep tracking, all I do is open up my phone, oh, I slept great. In reality, this is pulling you out of bed. You are getting up, you need to take your morning readiness, it takes around 2.5 minutes before it gives you a reading, so you need to wait for the ding to come up. And this sets you up for a day because you are forming a habit of getting out of that bed and actually doing something. Because you can look on your phone, oh, my sleep has been shit, let's nap a bit longer. That's not really gonna work because that messes up all your day. Or, oh, my sleep has been great, but I'll just mess about a bit on checking my Instagram and whatnot. So it's distracting. Whereas this, you have to get out of the bed. You have to sit or stand or do whatever else to check your heart rate variability in the morning. And once that's done, you can start making kind of decisions. What should I do next? If my morning readiness is absolute dog shit, let's do some priming, let's do some meditation, let's do some guided breathing, let's get it in check before I leave the house. If it's amazing, you don't need to go back to bed. You really don't. You have set yourself up already. That first habit is engraved in you now, and you follow up from there into getting up, getting your meals on time, getting out for cardio maybe, whatever your day is looking like. This is the first step that drags you out of the bed to take action, whereas this and watch and whatever else you could use is not giving you that first kick that I need to act on this. So I hope this helps. So this is how I use my Polar H10. I'm going to put in a link below where you can get it. But yeah, if you got any questions after this, drop me a comment. But this should be self-explanatory. How to use it, why am I using it, and how to get most out of it. Don't overcomplicate everything, you know. It's not a magical tool, but it's an extremely useful tool for myself, for what I want to do with my clients, and how I track their progression and how I make decisions based on this. This is extremely important for myself to acknowledge, like, okay, this guy needs to do this girl needs to fix that, and everything else. Whereas a lot of people, like I said, they just ignore completely their recovery, they ignore completely that their resting heart rate might be not in the best place. Then they take some medicine to fix all that, and it just goes to hell. So I'll just leave you at that. I hope this video has been useful, and I'll speak to you in the next video.